Hi! Welcome to Wheels Up! My name is Sierra, and I'm so excited to take you on a super fun journey brought to you by the Sunrise Association, the Sunrise Studios, and our friends at American Airlines. While we're on our adventure, see if you can spot Wings, our special airplane friend who will show up in 3 different places. After our adventure, join us for crafts in our Sunrise VX Treehouse. And last, but certainly not least, we'll do a fun game of trivia with me, all about our adventure. Are you ready? Let's go! Fasten your seatbelts. Here to kick us off is a special representative from our friends at American Airlines.
Welcome passengers. I'm American Airlines Flight Attendant Marquis Williamson. Welcome on board our very special flight today with service from the Sunrise Association and American Airlines to explore America's national landmarks. Our first stop is Washington, D.C., so buckle up, sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight.
Hello, adventurers! I have a question for you. What do the Lincoln Memorial, the Gateway Arch, and Mount Rushmore have in common? Did you say they are all in the United States? That's true! And you know what else they all are? National landmarks! Buckle your seatbelts and prepare for landing. Our first American Airlines flight is about to land in Washington, D.C. Our nation's capital has tons of landmarks, so it's the perfect place to start our adventure. But what exactly is a national landmark? National landmarks are buildings, sculptures, monuments, and areas that are important to American history, people, and culture. They may mark where famous battles took place, or remember people who helped lead our nation. Some national landmarks are places of incredible natural beauty. Others are symbols that stand for really big ideas. There are also some landmarks that are just plain fun. On this adventure, we'll explore a mix of our favorites. Our friend Lindsay actually works to protect a national landmark and has a special message for us. Let's check it out.
Hi everybody, my name is Lindsay and I work here at Sagamore Hill National Historic Site in Oyster Bay, New York. It's the home of President Theodore Roosevelt. Sagamore Hill is part of the National Park Service. What the National Park Service is, it's a government group that helps to preserve and protect all these beautiful spaces, just like Sagamore Hill. My friends and I at the National Park Service and here at Sagamore Hill help to take care of these beautiful places and teach people just like you about them. And one very good way to learn about them is to do a Junior Ranger program. You'll get an activity or a book and you'll fill it out and then you'll get a nice little badge like the one I'm wearing. I hope you all have a great adventure visiting national landmarks today, and I hope you can visit us soon. Bye!
Thanks so much, Lindsay. Okay, I think we're all ready to start exploring my favorite landmarks in Washington, D.C. We're starting big, really big, at the Lincoln Memorial. At 6'4", Abraham Lincoln was the tallest U.S. president, but the statue inside the memorial honoring our 16th president is much taller than he was in real life. It's a whopping 19 feet high, and that's with Lincoln sitting down. This colossal, that means really, really big, statue sits inside of a marble rectangular building that is surrounded by 36 marble columns because that's how many states there were at the end of Lincoln's time as president. That's so cool! Abraham Lincoln was famous for many things, including his signature top hat. Fun fact number 1, Lincoln's famous hat wasn't just for fashion. He was known to keep important documents inside of it. How funny is that? With over 6 million visitors a year, the Lincoln Memorial is the most visited monument in the U.S. One of my favorite things here is the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool. All of that shimmering water is just so beautiful. And it leads to our next national landmark. Our next landmark honors our country's first president, George Washington. You might recognize this tall monument from the movie Spider-Man: Homecoming. Remember when Peter Parker goes on a class trip to Washington, D.C.? His classmates visit the Washington Monument and decide to take the elevator to the top floor, about 500 feet above ground. But an evil plan causes them to get stuck in the elevator. Enter Spidey to the rescue! The elevator is now the only way to get to the top. You used to be able to take the stairs. 896 stairs to be exact. Whew, that sounds exhausting. Both ways lead to a spectacular view of our nation's capital from the top. The Martin Luther King Jr. National Memorial honors the famous civil rights leader. It includes a 30-foot carving of Dr. King called the Stone of Hope. There is also a wall with quotations from many of Dr. King's speeches, including his famous I Have a Dream speech. Fun fact number 2, Dr. King delivered that speech in 1963 from the Lincoln Memorial. It looks especially beautiful there when the cherry trees are in bloom. It almost looks like Dr. King is gazing at them. Beautiful. Wow, I'm tired after all that sightseeing. Let's take a seat on the big chair. Goldilocks would most definitely say this chair is too big. It's 20 feet tall. The original chair was made in 1959 for the Curtis Brothers Furniture Company. Fun fact number 3, the company thought it would be great advertising, and even better if they had someone live on top of the chair in a glass house. Someone did it for 42 days before she got ground sick and returned home. No way! But no time for sitting. We have a flight to catch to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Here we are at the most famous building in Philadelphia, Independence Hall. Some really important events in American history happened right here. Let's travel back in time to the year 1776, when there were 13 colonies that belonged to England. We want our freedom, demanded the colonists, right here in Independence Hall. Colonists voted to separate from England and signed the Declaration of Independence at this very place. They also wrote the U.S. Constitution here in 1787. The famous Liberty Bell, a symbol of freedom of America, is kept safe in a building in front of Independence Hall and is a favorite spot for visitors to Philadelphia. Shh! Want to hear a secret? No need to lean in close, because we're at Philadelphia's famous Whispering Bench. Because of the curved shape of this stone bench, if you sit on either end of it and whisper, what you say can be heard clearly on the other side. That is so cool! The benches are at the Smith Memorial Arch, which celebrates Philadelphians who fought in the Civil War. It's said that new couples like to have their first kiss on the benches. How sweet! Okay, adventurers, it's time for our next flight. We're headed west to St. Louis, Missouri. Welcome to the Gateway to the West. Literally, the city of St. Louis is known for many things, including the birthplace of the ice cream cone. But its biggest claim to fame is the Gateway Arch. Built to celebrate America's growth in the 1800s, this 630-foot steel monument has become the symbol of the city, and tourists flock to it year after year, ready to head all the way to the top. Fun fact number 4, the Gateway Arch is the tallest monument in the U.S. and the tallest arch in the world. But once you reach the top, it's totally worth it. Look out the window and you can see for miles and miles, looking over the Mississippi River and the city of St. Louis. This is so beautiful. To get to the top, we'll need to take a tram ride. But this tram ride is not for the faint of heart. 5 people sit close together in the tram car, or pod, for a 4-minute ride up, up, up. It swings a little as it climbs, kind of like a Ferris wheel. Whew! Stick a fork in me, I'm done! Wait, I was just kidding! Hey, is that a giant fork? What a silly stop! Time to catch our next flight to South Dakota. Welcome to Keystone, South Dakota, home of Mount Rushmore. This famous landmark is made up of 4 60-feet-high faces of American presidents: George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Theodore Roosevelt, and Abraham Lincoln, that are carved right into a granite cliff in the Black Hills of South Dakota. Wow, that's amazing! Artist Gutzon Borglum designed this massive monument, studying masks, paintings, and photos of these famous leaders. He created models of their faces to help the workers figure out where and how much rock to remove. But how did they remove so much rock? Fun fact number 5, workers used dynamite to blast out most of the rock. Wow! It took 14 years to create, but it's the world's largest work of art. While we're here, we have to make a stop in Mitchell, South Dakota to see one of my favorite landmarks, the Corn Palace. This is no ordinary palace. Each wall is covered in designs made with, you guessed it, corn. 13 shades and colors of corn to be exact. The palace was built to show the world that South Dakota is very good at, well, growing corn. New corn designs are displayed every year at the annual Corn Palace Festival. It may seem kind of corny, but no joking, the Corn Palace gets about 500,000 visitors every year. Can I move in? Come on, adventurers! Our time is almost up. Let's keep flying west to San Francisco, California. Welcome to San Francisco, home to the country's first ever moving national landmark. Yes, you heard me right. Our last landmark is actually on wheels. San Francisco's cable cars were named the first moving national landmark in 1964. These engine-less passenger vehicles are famous for climbing up and down the city's hilly streets. The cars are pulled by a moving wire cable. You might recognize these famous trolleys from the movie The Princess Diaries. Mia Thermopolis lives in San Francisco, and when she's first learning to drive, she accidentally crashes into a cable car. Don't worry, everyone was okay. Almost 10 million people ride San Francisco's cable cars every year. Passengers sometimes even ride on the outside of the cars while holding tightly onto the bars. Woof! Be careful! While San Francisco cable cars are no longer the only moving national landmark, the city holds the only annual cable car bell ringing contest. Ding ding! I love that! This has been such a fun tour of our nation's landmarks, and there are even so many more to explore. But now it's time to board our American Airlines flight and head home for some super fun crafts in the Sunrise VX Treehouse. See you there! Wow, that was such an incredible adventure! Did you have a chance to see wings? You did! Here are the 3 different times where we spot wings. Great job! Well, come on, we have another adventure where we're gonna go crafting in our Sunrise VX Treehouse. Let's go!
Hi, I'm Tori, and I'm so excited to be doing art with you today. Since we visited some national landmarks, we're going to make 2 crafts. One, the St. Louis Arch in Missouri, and the second one, the Corn Palace in South Dakota.
Project 1, Gateway Arch Painting. White paper, piece of aluminum foil, scissors, markers, crayons, or colored pencils, and glue. Project 2, Corn Palace Drawing. Construction paper, white, yellow, green, watercolor paints, scissors, white crayon, markers, crayons, or colored pencils, and glue.
For our gateway arch, I'm going to start with 1 piece of paper. And to begin, we're going to make a skyline. A skyline is just some buildings, they're all lined up next to each other. So I'll start with my horizon, which is just a straight line. And then I'll start with my buildings. And these are just kind of like rectangle boxes. They could be different heights and different widths, whatever you want them to be. So I'll just continue making my buildings, all different shapes and sizes. They don't have to be connecting each other. Anything is good. I've never been here, but this is what I imagine it would look like. So, our next step is to make some water. So I'm gonna start with like a wavy line under our landmark, which is the horizon. And I just did a wavy line, and you can color it in with pencils or markers or paint, but if you want to be creative and do something a little more exciting, we have like pieces of paper, and you can use any pieces of paper, any colors, just create different cutouts, and we can glue them on almost like a mosaic. So I have my glue. I'll just glue that anywhere, just to make it fun. I'm gonna stick to blue, but if you wanted to add green in the water or purple, any color is fun. And I'll just do one more. And now to the arch. I'm going to use a tin foil to make my arch, and I folded it in half, and now I'm going to fold it in half again. Crease it, and then I'll fold it in half again and crease it one more time. And now I'm going to bend it to create the arch. Now, arches are sort of like bridges, but this one we're going to bend a little bit so it has 3D dimension to it. So this is what mine's gonna look like, but if yours doesn't look like this, that's totally fine. And then I'm going to glue on the 2 bottom pieces and stick that right onto my paper. Now, I think that this needs a little more excitement. So with the same papers I used before, and now you don't have to do this, you could just do markers to decorate your buildings, but I'm going to glue on different squares to my buildings to make them super colorful. This might look like windows, or it just might give your buildings a little character. Another way that you can decorate them is making windows with just markers or crayons or paints or something. And I'll just be doing rectangles. If you want circle windows, you could do that. Maybe I have a circle window, something fun like that. And now the sky. The sky looks a little plain, so what can we do to make it more exciting? Have you ever seen fireworks? That's what I'm going to add. So I have star stickers that I'm going to add, because I think those kind of look like fireworks. So I'll add some of those. If you have other types of stickers, feel free to use them. If you have other materials, anything to make it really fun and exciting to pop out of the sky, that's super fun. And I'm also going to use some crayons to make fireworks. So I'm using some orange, starting from the center and drawing curvy lines out. And maybe I'll use 2 colors, make it fun. And you could use any materials you want for this. You don't even have to make fireworks. If you want it to be a bright day outside with a sun and some clouds maybe, birds flying in the sky, do whatever you would like. Maybe just one more firework. And that's my arch. Hopefully one day I'll get to see it in Missouri. I hope you had fun doing this one, and on to the next. Let's get started with our second craft, the corn palace. I'm going to start with a piece of paper and I'm going to make the palace. Today I'm going to use markers. But if you want to use something else like crayons, colored pencils, even if you just want to use pencil, you can do anything that you have around. So I'm just going to sketch out what my palace is going to look like. Maybe it has some windows. Maybe it has a big door. We'll draw land, and maybe it's huge. And it looks like something like this maybe. And we definitely need to have the sign of the building, which is the Corn Palace. So let's write that big. But you don't have to, you don't want to. And maybe I'll color that in with some crayons. Maybe I'll color my door in. Maybe I'll draw some grass on the ground. Okay. Now, I heard that the corn palace is decorated with tons of corn every year, so let's make our own piece of corn. So I'm gonna start with my piece of paper and draw like an oval shape. Maybe we'll make it a little darker. I can't really see that. And then the corn also has husk, so that's gonna be like a V shape on the top, and then curve it all the way down and do it on the other side. All the way down. Okay, now let's cut that out. I think today I'll watercolor my corn, because I haven't used watercolor in a while, but if you don't have watercolor, you can paint it with other types of paint, or you can use crayons, color pencils, anything that you have handy works. You can even cut out different colors of papers and make every single piece of corn go crazy. Okay, so. If you choose to watercolor today, I learned a very cool craft idea. Use a white white crayon, and we're going to draw like a grid. So straight down, straight down, straight down, and then the other way. So vertical line, horizontal lines. So it looks like a grid. Now you can't see this yet, but when we use the watercolor paints, it'll all be revealed. So I have my watercolor paints. If you've never used watercolor paints before, you just dip your brush into your water and mix it in the paints. And then we're going to paint it on top. Sometimes the grid lines on the corn will show up a little better with the white crayons, but maybe we'll actually go over it with another type of material like markers today, so that it shows up even better. And actually, I think I'll add more colors into my corn, because I've had corn that's actually orange. Did you know that there was orange corn and blue corn? That's crazy to me. So we'll just do, maybe I'll add a little blue too. You can make it little rectangles, or you could just blend it into the background. Now while that part dries, let's do the green for the husk. And I'll use a marker. Now you can color this all the way in, or if you want to give it some texture, you don't have to color it the whole way, and you could just do lines. And same on the other side. Just like that. Now what would be more fun is if my corn had a face on it. So I'm gonna take some googly eyes, but if you don't have googly eyes, you could just draw some eyes. And I'm going to glue on some eyes. It's okay if your glue gets a little messy because it dries clear. And I'm gonna also draw a smile, because my corn is pretty happy today. And make sure that your paper is all the way dry if you use watercolor, because sometimes it will rip your paper, but we can work with this. Okay, so now that my corn is complete, we're going to make it pop out of the page. So take some of the scraps that you used from cutting out your corn, and we're going to cut a sliver of paper. So it could be a strip, any thickness is fine. And once you have your sliver of paper, you're going to fold it back and forth and back and forth. So just a little bit forward, flip your paper over, and then fold it the opposite direction. Flip it again, and do it all the way down until your paper is all the way folded. So flip and fold, flip and fold. And you can crease every single time, just so that it really stays in place. Now, to make this stick onto our corn, we're going to flip the corn to the back, and we're going to tape sort of in the center, or glue, this part so that it will pop off. Take that on. And then we'll tape it or glue it right onto our corn palace. And I think mine would go right there. So you could just eyeball wherever you want your glue or your tape, put a little piece, and attach the other side of the folded piece. And then you can fold it back and place it down and press pretty hard so that it stays in place. So then, when you lift up your page, the corn will come popping out at you. So, that's my corn palace. I hope you liked craft too. I hope you had fun making this arch craft and our popping corn craft. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope that I'll see you next time. I'm Tori from VX Treehouse, and I hope to see you next time.
Wow! We had such a blast crafting with you today. Well, get ready, because we're coming in for our final destination, an exciting trivia game, where you'll get to have more fun with trivia questions about our adventure today. I'm gonna ask you 10 questions. Each question has 4 answers, but only one answer is correct. Can you figure it out? Well, come on, let's play. Question 1. The Lincoln Memorial, Gateway Arch, and Mount Rushmore are all A. Located in the United States, B. Important to American history, C. National landmarks, or D. All of the above? They are all located in the U.S., important and national landmarks. Question 2. Abraham Lincoln was known to keep important what in his hat? A. Rabbits, B. Documents, C. Lottery tickets, or D. Tricks? Can you fill in the blank? Documents! Isn't that so funny? Question 3. Which landmark was featured in the movie Spider-Man: Homecoming? A. Washington Monument, B. Mount Rushmore, C. Whispering Bench, or D. Corn Palace? The Washington Monument. Such a good movie. Go Spidey, go! Question 4. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. delivered his I Have a Dream speech from A. The Washington Monument, B. The Lincoln Memorial, C. Independence Hall, or D. The Big Chair? Oh, this is a good one. B. The Lincoln Memorial. Question 5. The big chair was thought to be great for A. Taking naps, B. Eating dinner, C. Using in fairy tales, or D. Advertising a furniture company? You guessed it! Question 6. All of the following important historical events happened in Philadelphia except the A. Signing of the Declaration of Independence, B. Writing of the U.S. Constitution, C. Landing of the Mayflower, or D. Ringing of the Liberty Bell? Well, the Mayflower did not land in Philadelphia. Great job! Question 7. The tallest monument in the U.S. is A. Abraham Lincoln, B. The Gateway Arch, C. The Washington Monument, or D. the Statue of Liberty? If you can believe it, the Gateway Arch is the tallest monument. Question 8. St. Louis, Missouri is known for A, the ice cream cone, B, the Gateway Arch, C, the Mississippi River, or D, all of the above. St. Louis is famous for all of these fabulous things. Woohoo! Question 9. The faces of 4 what are carved into Mount Rushmore? A, presidents, B, Disney characters, C, superheroes, or D, giant clocks. Can you fill in the blank? 4 presidents are carved in huge rocks on Mount Rushmore. Our final question, number 10. An example of a moving national landmark is A, Mia's car in the movie The Princess Diaries, B, San Francisco's cable cars, C, Spider-Man's car, or D, the Batmobile. Oh, this is a tough one. But still working today, San Francisco's cable cars. Thank you so much for playing with me today, and we'll see you next time. Wow, you did such an awesome job with trivia today. Thanks for joining me on this episode of Wheels Up. Did you know that there are more adventures of Wheels Up available for you? Oh yeah! Just head to our YouTube channel, or you can download our Sunrise Studios app, which is available on iOS or Android, Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire. And thank you so much to the Sunrise Studios, Sunrise Association, and the wonderful American Airlines. We'll see you next time!